Here is people-to-people grassroots peace conference in Nyamlel, Gumjuar Center, County of Lord State. Nothing but a reflection on the relationship between the two communities, separated by an international border. Dinka Malual in South Sudan and the REIZIGAT of Sudan sitting in the same hall to find lasting peace in their neighborhood. This pre-migration peace conference is the first ever conducted cheerfully without a report of killing from one community. This was initiated in the early years before South Sudan's independence.
النسوان بتاعنا مع بنات اللي مرادين ممكن يمشي وخلا يمشي ويجيب قش يعني يجي يعملوا بيوت مرادين في ناس بيمشوا بحاجمهم ببرنامج اقتصاد.
Elders and representatives of the youth set in groups according to their communities to put requirements for their coexistence.
قالوا لنا كمان دايرين نحافظ على انه التاجر ده عشان ما يخسر كثير. قال انه مشكله بتاعت الضرائب ده اذا انه حل امكن انه ممكن انت في ابو مطار هناك تعمل موقع هنا عشان بعدك زول انت يخلص من ضريبه بتاعه لما نجي هنا داخل السوق يكون اصلا ما يكون في حاجه ثانيه عن الضرائب او حاجه عن الحكومه ثانيه.
For long-term cooperation, various needs was lined according to both sides' demands.
الموضوع اخرى ده مع البرنامج بتاع جريزد. هم طبعا قالوا دي طبعا الاب دائما بيكون حنين لزول الثاني ذاك اذا جلس غير عمل مشكله لابد انه يساعد. قال في منطقه بتاع كلمه في عربيه لاند كروزر موديل عام 2014 على ما اعتقد اتسرق في 2016. قال فيه 2 برميل بتاع جاز ولا في برميل بتاع بنزين وفي 4 شوالات بتاع ذره وايضا كانوا في قروش. قال لنا خطبوه في السوق زول جرب عربيه لهسه هم عارفينه جهه بتاعه وين.
This agreement between the Dinka Malual of Lol State in the Republic of South Sudan and the REIZIGAT of Eastern Darfur of the Republic of Sudan, as necessitated by their mutual needs for water, pasture and trade.
Dinka Malual دي متفقين عليها تماما صحيح؟ طيب الريزيغات على ان يبدا ترحال الرعاة الريزيغات في اول اسبوع من فبراير دي متفقين عليها تماما. طيب في الاضافات هنا عندنا يوصل مؤتمر في الفقره نمره 2 في الاضافات اضفنا للفقره نمره 2 في الاضافات عدم زراعه موارد المياه واماكن شرب الحيوان.
It is hard to believe that the two communities also hold a long-term historical bond and ancestral links, independence and benefits of peace and cooperation.
كذلك برضه في الاضافات يوصل المؤتمر بترك تحديد فئة الضريبة المتفق عليها بين المناديب ولجان السلام. يعني الضريبة دي نخليها بين المناديب بتاع الريزيغات ولجان السلام مع الحكومة بتاعت جنوب السودان. يعني عسى ولعل يمكن يوقعوا فيها حاجة يعني ما تخفف على أهلهم الريزيغات. كذلك قلنا يوصل مؤتمر بحسم امر السرقات لانه اخواننا الان في سرقات كثيره جدا وسرقات متكرره خاصه للابقار بتاعه الرزقات في سرقات متكرره. فعلى المؤتمر يمكن يكون يدها حد من الدينكا والقتل من الدينكا من 2013. خلوكم معانا يا جماعه اسمعوا معانا هنا زول.
The encouragement and support by the political will of South Sudan and Sudan's government, the Dinka Malual and the REIZIGAT communities finally put the long-term fear to an end. The two communities agreed on different resolutions. The first was to restrict the migration period of the REIZIGAT from Eastern Darfur to South Sudan to start from the first week of February to the first week of June upon delay of rainfalls. The REIZIGATs are also to send a 3-week notice to the host communities or local government or a joint peace committee for preparations for their movement. REIZIGAT pastoralists and traders crossing into South Sudan shall also not come in with arms, and the government of South Sudan shall provide full security and protection for their property. All cattle entering the country, South Sudan, are all to be vaccinated at the entry point by relevant government or non-governmental organizations. Raping was laid to be prohibited. Anyone who violates will pay a fine of 15 heads of cattle and 20,000 South Sudanese pounds or its equivalent. The resolutions also agreed on prohibiting burning of grass, naming and renaming of places, marking or cutting down of trees. REIZIGAT pastoralists are also prohibited to head their cattle on the host community residential areas and farms. Any claim of destruction of property by the cattle shall be assessed by the Joint Peace Committee, court or local government authorities for compensation.
هو مؤتمر راتب، يعني احنا بنحضره كل عام، يعني سنويا ان احنا بنجي وبنعمل مؤتمر وبنقعد مع اهلنا الدينكا، احنا كقبيلة ريزيغات مع اهلنا الدينكا ملوال، وبنناقش القضايا وبنعمل توصيات وبنراجع التوصيات بتاعت العام اللي قبله، ونشوف شنو المستجدات اللي حصلت واللي بتحتاج للعلاج. حقيقة يعني يمكن الدينكا ملوال والريزيغات قدموا نموذج، يعني احنا بنعتقد انه قدموا نموذج طيب، لانه تجاوزوا مرحلة الصراع، اصبح كل شيء عندهم بالحوار. يعني يمكن دي حاجة سمة ان احنا نتمنى انه يعني كل الاهل في دولة جنوب السودان وفي جمهورية السودان بل في افريقيا كلها انهم يعني يحلوا قضاياهم عبر الحوار، لانه ده اسلوب نحن جربناه وعمليا الان. يعني يمكن دينكا ملوال والريزيغات ما في صوت بندقية بيناتهم منذ سنوات طويلة، وده بفضل يعني جلوسهم تحت وقعادهم وطرحهم لقضاياهم واستماع لوجهة نظر الطرف الآخر. الحقيقة هذا العام وهذا المؤتمر يختلف حقيقة عن الأعوام السابقة، لأنه يعني أول ما يميز هذا المؤتمر الإعداد لهذا المؤتمر والمشاركين. يعني يمكن طيلة الفترة اللي احنا كنا بنجي كان يعني يمكن المؤتمر كان يعني بنلقى يعني اخواننا في منظمة بيستس، لكن المرة دي لقينا شركاء كتار في المؤتمر ده، يعني اخواننا في يوناميس، اخواننا في UNDP، اخواننا في فاو، يعني عدد من المنظمات حقيقة يعني كلهم ساهموا في الاعداد للمؤتمر ده. نحن يعني ده واحد من الاشياء اللي حقيقة هي بالنسبة لنا في هذا العام وجدنا فيها اختلاف. المشاركة دي يعني مشاركة الجهات المنظمات دي في هذا المؤتمر خلت المؤتمر انه يقوم يعني في ظرف يعني موضوعي. المواضيع اللي طرحت فيه إيجابية، التغطية الإعلامية إذا كانت تغطية جيدة غطت كل مناشط المؤتمر. أيضا ما يميز هذا المؤتمر إنه المرة دي ما في زول قتلوا من الريزيغات وما في زول قتلوا من دينكا ملوال، ما حصلت مشكلة بين الريزيغات ودينكا ملوال. ده نتيجة للعمل بتاع الأعوام السابقة والاجتهاد بتاع أخواننا السلاطين في دينكا ملوال وأخواننا أعضاء لجان السلام من جانب دينكا ملوال ومن جانب الريزيغات، أخواننا أعضاء المحاكم المشتركة بين الريزيغات والدينكا، حتى أخواننا في المحافظين في ولاية لول.
What we have observed is a spirit of cooperation between the two communities. They have demonstrated their commitment to the peace, and now it's becoming a very mature relationship and cooperation. This year, I think the conference, the pre-migration conference between REIZIGAT and Dinka takes place in a very positive environment, as the two governments, South Sudan and Sudan, opened the border, and they have also started implementing their border cooperation agreement, which includes the militarization of Mile 14. I think these positive measures by the two governments will allow the two communities, Dinka and REIZIGAT, even to deepen their relationship. So overall, I think we have seen a very deep commitment to peace between the two communities, and willingness and readiness to resolve any disputes or conflicts peacefully. I think what the pre-migration conference between these two communities and the one before between Misiria and Dinka in Wanjok in December have shown that any conflict can be overcome. There is no conflict that is immune to resolutions. They can be overcome as long as there is willingness to dialogue. There is always a chance for peace. But of course, if the border communities like Dinka and REIZIGAT have resolved their conflict and peace, that will contribute to the prevention of conflict, that will contribute to the protection of civilians. So,
as we learned during the conference that the REIZIGAT cattle have approached the South Sudan land, I'm also happy that with this conference we have a FAO who had offered a vaccination to the animal before the region, which is the common thing. The Dinka Malual, the complaint was that REIZIGAT cows came while they are sick, and then they did not vaccinate. And so vaccination will take place at its plan under the Ministry of Animal and Fishery with the support from the FAO. As I mentioned earlier, this year conference is different. Is different in a way that, in other hand, I was happy that all the stakeholders came and play a role. Once last year, in the previous years, visitors used to fund everything. But this year, as one of the challenges, number one was the funding, and number two was the actual fixing the time to negotiate this. So I'm happy, and I want to take this opportunity to thank all the peace actors who have stepped in to small contribution, but particularly I want to thank the two communities, the Dinka Malual community and REIZIGAT, for their contribution. In Lol State, Dinka community, they have contributed 6 bulls to the conference as part of their contribution, because we know they have bulls. They don't have money, but they have bulls. So they say we'll contribute 6 bulls. Will State, on the other hand, contribute 2 bulls to the conference, and then that goes to the other side of the Lua, which is a will center. And UNMIS provide food and catering, and we have also REIZIGAT, the flesh. They brought flour, sugar, tea, and onions, and salt, and oil. All those that they have, they brought to the conference. So the minor things were covered. UNDP stepped in very heavily of covering part of it. FAO also came and covered part of it, and so. To me, as is the first thing that I'm excited that everybody is involved and has a hand in it. But most importantly, I begin to see now, let's say if hypothetically, God forbid that it doesn't happen, that our partners go all, if they go, I'm sure that the Dinka, Malual and REIZIGAT will manage to sit with the contribution that I've seen that they have brought to the conference. It shows the commitment. It shows that it is them people. And this is why I always said these ones are called grassroots people to people peace conference. They don't discuss anything to do with the border. They don't discuss anything to do with the politics. The two governments don't get involved. They just listen and they ask, what do you want us to do? We want security. They provide security. Security personnel are 100%. The REIZIGAT are happy. They were received heavily. Dinka Malual will go back today singing and dancing because they have a successful conference where they resolve their problem. I'm happy with the two governments, the government of South Sudan and the government of Sudan. Recently, there have been a lot of meetings that are taking place in Khartoum to resolve the issues of the border. And this is why I say the two governments, the entire community are very appreciative. They care about the peaceful coexistence among the borders. And the recent meeting that they have, it was resolved that this road have to be open for the easy access of REIZIGAT to Dinka Malual land, as well as Dinka Malual across to the other side of Darfur. As a result of the meeting that our two governments met, they resolved that the Kira Dam have to be open. And also, I wanted to say also, I'm happy also with the Lion Division, the Division 3, of actually providing an accommodation for them when they arrived last night. They slept there with them, they took care of them, and they brought them here. So the two governments actually are doing their initiative, and inside of the peace, I'm happy that they have resolved that issue. so that our brothers who are coming from north doesn't have to go through a long way. It took them like 6 days to come here, but this time it took them only 1 day to arrive. So they are excited and they are looking forward for more engagement of the political will on the other side of the two governments to make their peaceful coexistence easy. So it was a result of the two meetings that the two presidents have, the two government, the two Ministry of Defense, that the result that we should make it easy for our people. So it's a good step forward for our two governments.
يسألون منو يعرفونه يقولوا هو ريزيغات لأمه ريزيغات لكن
Illegal checkpoints should be discouraged by both sides to allow free movement of both traders and pastoralists. Buying and selling of cattle or goats shall be properly documented by the REIZIGAT and the Dinka Malual chiefs, peace committees, and other local government authorities to settle any dispute. For unintentional killing, the blood compensation shall be 31 heads of cattle or its equivalent. Intentional killing is 41 heads of cattle or its equivalent. The compensation shall be paid promptly under the guidance and coordination of the Peace Committee, Joint Chief Courts, and local government authorities. All issues of taxation on REIZIGAT pastoralists shall be decided and managed by the government of South Sudan through relevant institutions. REIZIGAT shall adhere to the following acceptance routes of migration during entry and exit from Dinka land. The REIZIGAT cattle camp leaders will be remaining behind at the end of the migration season in order to iron out any rising issues with the host community. Dinka Malual and REIZIGAT agreed to take sole responsibilities of criminal cases within the communities and solve them amicably and peacefully. The two sides also agreed on constructing a conference hall and accommodation to ease facilitation of future peace conferences. The REIZIGAT and the Dinka Malual women are also encouraged to participate in future peace conferences.